One of the more unusual aerial displays was put on by American Bob Carlton, flying a self-launching jet-powered glider. Bob began flying 27 years ago in the perfect gliding thermals found in the mountains around his hometown of Albuquerque, New Mexico. The Silent Wings concept evolved from Bob's love of sailplanes and the inherent problems that the glider pilot faces on the airshow circuit.
Well, I started flying air shows about 14 years ago with a Salto sailplane. One of the biggest problems I had was I had to hire a tow plane and tow pilot every place I went. And so after about 6 years, I actually bought my own tow plane. I bought a Skybolt biplane and rigged it up with a tow hook and a trailer so I could trailer the biplane and the glider together. And that worked very well, but even that was a big, fairly cumbersome show. It was probably Jimmy Franklin and his jet Waco that was the inspiration for the jet sailplane. Each of these little engines puts out 45 pounds of thrust, and they only weigh about 5 pounds. I've got 11 gallons of fuel on board, which is good for about 30 minutes at climb power or about an hour at cruise. These engines were originally designed for model aircraft, and the model guys just don't use full throttle as much as I do. And so there were a few issues inside the engine. Nothing wrong with the bearings or the compressors or turbines. There were some fuel system issues. A little bit of problems tweaking the onboard computer to be able to handle all the different conditions that I fly under at an air show. The engines are retractable, so under a normal soaring type flight, I can take off with the engine power and find a thermal, shut the engines down. They cool down in only about a minute because they're very thin cross-section, and then they retract electrically and the doors close up and I'm just another glider then. And I can, if I need to, I can put the engines back up and restart them in flight. Jets are like having a car that only has overdrive. They don't really make a lot of power till they're moving fast. So the takeoff roll is fairly slow. The climb out is adequate but not exceptional. But as soon as I nose over for that first aerobatic maneuver, the engines really turn on and come into play then.
And ladies and gentlemen, we go to the sky now with Mr. Bob Carlton. Bob, in that beautiful Alisport J, are you with us, my friend?
Hey, I read you loud and clear, Gordon. I'm having an absolutely wonderful time up here, and I hope everybody on the ground is having as much fun as I'm having.
Well, my day show, in spite of the fact that I have the jets and I can do a low aerobatic show, the sort of the essence of a glider show is silent and a lot more sweeping ballet type moves. So I start my day show up fairly high, pull the engines back to flight idle so they don't make much noise, and I do a very soft ballet type show for about 3 minutes. When I get down low, where most gliders would have to land, I go ahead and add the power and show off what I can do with the engines spooled up. And it's just a really, really fun show down low. The night show, I actually really love the night show. Usually the weather's nicer, it's a little cooler, so I get better performance. Because of the pyro and everything, I can't do a lot of the aerobatics I can do during the day, so the actual flying part of the night show is easier. The rules keep me up around 500 feet, just so I don't catch things on the ground on fire. And so the actual flying of the night show is a little simpler. The pyrotechnics is a challenge just getting everything set up, but it's all computer fired And once I hit the button, then I can go back to flying the aircraft and paying attention to what little bit of ground references I have at night. This has been some of the most interesting weather I've ever flown in. Between freezing cold, boiling hot, 50-mile-an-hour winds, the dust, the crosswinds. It's been a very challenging show, but the folks here have just been fabulous in working with us and trying to make things just as easy as they can. The logistics have been superb, and everything has just been there when we needed it, so that helps a lot. This is our first trip to Australia. We've done a few shows in Canada. That's the only ones we've done outside the U.S., but frankly, the logistics of this show has been easier than a lot of the shows we do at home.